Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build, and today we're unusually up in the Toxic Valley, and we're going to make use of the new Charleston Fire Station that arrived in the atomic shop last week. So let's jump in. Okay, and yeah, Charleston Fire Station arrived last week. This thing's a lot like the Brotherhood of Steel Tower that was added back with Steel Dawn, I believe, way back when. But it's a little different in its design. So let's look at where we are. There we go. Not too far from Grafton there. We're just on the road sort of out of town to the east there. There's Smith Farm, Clarksburg over that way, and of course Vault 76 down over here. So yeah, just on the edge of town here. It's quite a cool spot. Found a nice bit of flat ground, as we can see. I've already bulldozed most of the trees out of it. Let's move our camp unit, which is pushed quite a long way back because I wanted the edge of the build area right next to the road here. We're going to start at this little gap in the crash barrier there. So, a couple of foundations in, a little bit off centre, so let's make a slight adjustment there. So the ground's not particularly level here, but it's broadly flat, so it does the job. There we go. Looks about the right position in between the crash barrier there. Let's pop this around the back, and then we drop this front foundation down a little bit so that we don't need steps on the front of the main surface of the camp. Down a little bit lower. There we go. Nice. So I'm going to extend a double row out foundations out here to form kind of the main central walkway of the camp, sort of. Courtyard's not quite the right word, but it's close enough. That's where we're going to start off from. We'll drop the fire station in on the back. So as you can see, this thing is huge. It causes a few issues, partly just because of its size, I think. Dragging it around tends to cause frame rates to plummet briefly. Once you let go of it, they shoot right back up again, so it's not too much of a problem. But it's a bit awkward. But we're going to get this lined up with the end of the foundations here. Initially, I'm actually going to end up putting it somewhere else for reasons that I will show you in a moment. But initially, we get this lined up, the height right there. And in order to get this to sit smoothly against the edge of the foundations, the way to go is to move the prefab here just a little bit further in and then snap the foundation through the front edge of it rather than trying to do it the other way around because that just doesn't work with the collision. So there we go, more or less in the right spot, a little off center though, so let's just tweak that just a little bit. It does move okay, this thing, but for the frame rate issues. There we go. Perfect. Nice. So, jumping on quite a bit, I spent a lot of time faffing around trying to figure out how I was going to put side buildings and extra bits on this. I really wanted to use the glass dome for a greenhouse, but the thing's just too big for this build. And that truck at the back there ended up causing a few issues, as did the post next to it, of course. So, we're going to go with an ordinary self-built greenhouse instead. Nice and easy, just fly around the edge there. Come on. Yep, there we go. We'll stick a door on this side. In hindsight, I should probably have popped the foundations up just a little bit to make it a bit more interesting. But nonetheless, it worked okay, so that's fine. Get some dirt tiles in there so we can put some crops in. And we'll get a roof on this place. There we go. Nice and easy. It was a bit finicky trying to place some of these. For some reason, it just wanted to be awkward. Come on, get in there. Don't know what it is about roof pieces, but you need a good angle to view it from to make them snap sometimes. So one thing I did want to do, love the colours in the Toxic Valley by the way, in the evening, around about sunset. Yeah, one thing I did want to do was put that roof on at a different angle, just to make things a bit more interesting and change up the shape a bit. Let's close up these gaps while we're on the subject, because that will take us nicely to the problem I had. This gap here, for some reason, these upside down triangle pieces did not want to go in. I'm guessing if I'd put walls underneath it, it might have worked and then I'd been able to take them out. But in the end, what I elected to do was just flip this around, have it match everything else, and then the gaps were nice and easy to close. But slightly disappointed there. One other thing that is also slightly disappointing is this gap between the two walls here. If I put an extra foundation behind it and popped one of the walls back a bit, it might have worked okay. But for those sort of inside corners rather than outside ones, it doesn't quite meet up right, which is a bit annoying. So, moving on, you can see I was going to have a house on the left here, but the front surface of that fire station, being wrapped in sheet metal like that, doesn't look that great to my eye. So we're going to pull this structure out, and we're going to move the fire station around to this side, because the sides are only partially wrapped in steel. And they look much better for it. You've got a mixture of textures and stuff. The whole thing looks way more appealing to the eye, in my opinion. Wish Bethesda had carried that style all the way around the front, rather than just completely wrapping the front in steel. But without round the corner, we're going to have to reposition this to get it to sit up against the foundations. It's not too bad for that. It's a little awkward to manoeuvre. And this bit of ground is a little higher up, so dropping it down is a bit of a problem. But we'll manage. Get these foundations out of the way so we can fine-tune the positioning of this thing. The back corner's technically sticking out of the build area a tiny little bit, but it's not a part of the structure I'm going to be building in, so not a problem. So let's just grab some foundations to double-check the line on this. When they want to go in. There we go. No, yeah, there we are. So, almost there. Needs a little bit of fine-tuning. So let's just tweak that. Nice. So put these last couple of foundations back in now. And we have the tower where we want it, and it looks much better on the side like that. Way more appealing to the eye. However, we're going to need something down this end now, and I'm going to put a house here, because I need to live somewhere. In hindsight, the tower is so big, you'd probably be better off having that as a single structure and making it very, very focused on that, and not putting extra buildings on, or at least not too many, maybe one at most. Because decoration was a bit of an issue for me on this one. I ran out of budget, basically, so it wasn't quite as thoroughly decorated as I would like. But we'll manage. Anyway, as you can see, I'm using the Haunted House porches right now. I'm actually going to switch these out for the Contemporary set, as it looks better with the lighting, and it also matches the stuff in Grafton a little better as well. But for now, we'll leave that there. We'll get some foundations on the back here. We're going to go 4 across and just 2 back. Nice and easy. And then we'll get some walls in here. I'm going to put the door just here on the left, and then we'll put windows around the rest, and I'll change them out as and when I need to in the decoration phase. There we go, all walled off, nice and easy. Let's get a staircase in here. So going in the middle, at the back, we're going to use the Guild of Antiquities set. And I've actually grabbed the wrong one here, but in the latest update, Bethesda took the little bar off the top of this thing. That was kind of annoying, made it look like you were going to fall down the stairs. And it also clipped through things, so it looks much better without that. It ends up informing most of the decoration for the inside of this place, this staircase. It looks pretty cool. I'm happy with how it came out. Let's get a couple of floors in here. We're going to have a bit of a mezzanine upper level so we can look down onto the living room. And a little bedroom down this end over the top of what will become the kitchen. Let's get some half walls in here so it's not too tall up top. There we go. Don't worry too much about where I've got the windows. I'll be changing those during the decoration phase anyway, so have a look in the tour and you can see what I've done if you're interested in recreating. Or you can have a play around and decide for yourself what you like the look of the most. Speaking of things I like the look of the most, we're going with the Haunted House roof set because it's definitely one of my favourites, and particularly for houses. I like the shingles on it. Looks good. I'm going to put a couple of the windowed ones in the centre just to break up the shape a little bit more. There we go. And now we just need to close the ends up. Nice and quick. That tree is going to have to go on the end there. It's clipping through the end of the house. What I ended up doing was taking the advice of somebody in the comments and dropping some confetti, Fashionette confetti, on top of where the tree is, because it stops it coming back. It's a handy trick. So we're going to put a bathroom just behind the stairs here. Unfortunately, if I put a door on here, the wall corner will just stick through the roof, which will look awful. So we're going to switch this up a bit. I'm just going to put a flat roof on here. It'll look a bit odd, but it's on the back side of the camp where nobody's going to see it, so that's the main thing. I suppose I could have popped the whole thing up a section and had an angled roof that was a bit higher. That's another way you could go, but I've gone for a flat roof for this one. We were quite on the budget limit anyway, so using less building pieces is probably a win, really. Let's get that roof in there. Wrong way around. Ooh, wrong piece. There we go. Now all the ridge pieces line up. Next thing we need to do is get some railings on here. So, should have probably put that railing in last, but obviously putting railings around these stairs is a bit of an issue. So we're going to pop the walls off so I can get the staircase out. There we go. One more thing I need to take out, which is the floor behind me. So otherwise it won't be supported. Fortunately, the wall's quite happy to float, apparently. So that's fine. We'll hop up here, drop a couple of floors in. Doesn't matter which way around these are, because they'll be coming back out in just a moment. And now we can put some railings on there. There we go. just like that. And those railings are happy to float, so we'll pull those floors out, rather, and drop the Guild of Antiquities staircase back in. There we go. And we're good. One railed off staircase. And we just need to close up the walls now. So the last thing we need to do before we head on to the decoration is just pop these foundations out the way so I can snap the staircases in. Concrete ones would go in no problem, but the wooden ones, you need the foundations out the way first. And now we can snap them back. And there we go. Most of the structures are in place, so let's head on and decorate. So here we go, tour time. Quite happy with how this has come out. As I said before, really would have preferred it if I'd had a bit more decoration to put in place. You see, putting the fire station around the side like that definitely made it look way more appealing. Now you've got mixed textures showing rather than just the straight metal front. I like how it looks. It makes the whole thing a little bit more interesting. Gone for the stone walls out here. I did initially use the chain link, but I've used that a lot recently, so I thought we'd mix things up. They certainly fit in with this build. So a little bit of chain link here and there to plug up small gaps. There we go. Really like this fire station, actually. It's quite cool. I do wish the windows were transparent, though. That would be nice, but unfortunately they are just concreted over on the inside, as we will see in a moment. Yeah, nice little homestead-type build, which I've done a few of lately, but I've been enjoying them, so why not? Head on in through the gate and into the, for want of a better word, courtyard area. As I say, I would have loved to have a lot more decoration around here, but budget is what it is. I could easily have used another 50% if I'd had it available. But, you know, you get the idea. That's the main thing. And it's easy to path through, so I suppose that's a win as well. Thought I'd use that UFO bench for a change, because we've got seats and a table there without actually having to use extra items, so that's a win. It's a bit bizarre, but, you know, what the hell. Somebody's clearly dragged it back to their home. Heading on inside of the greenhouse, we've got a decent set of crops here. One thing that is worth noting, with the Invaders from Beyond update, Bethesda partially rolled back an update that was at the end of last year, I think, which allowed us to put crops much closer together. You can still put them closer together than you used to be able to way back when, but not as close as prior to Invaders, because I'm guessing people were putting them too close together and it was causing problems of some kind. I don't know, pure speculation. But we can no longer put them quite as close together as we used to, so it's not quite as tidy in there as I would have liked. But it works, so that's the main thing. There we go, there's our fire station, looking very, very cool. That flag on the top, actually, is already there, so I didn't have to add that. Let's head on inside and see what I've done with the place. The door to this thing is a lot of fun. I seem to remember the Brotherhood of Steel one works similarly, but it's quite cool. There we go. Nice. A lot of fun. Let's head on inside. So for this ground floor, I've dropped my vendors in here, made this my sort of shopping area. With the walls on this, they're really quite detailed. They're kind of pitted concrete and lots of grime and dirt on the walls. It's really cool. Except that it makes it hard to make it look right, which is one reason I would say don't put too many extra buildings on if you're going to use this. Because it really works best to lean into that grubby kind of look, and you need a lot of decoration to really dress these big walls up. So if your camp's too big, has too many extra buildings, you run out of budget like I did. But we've done okay, I think. Looks alright. A few bits and pieces around, everything you need near the vendors. And just squeeze the symptomatic in down here. I like having those illuminated signs up as well. I've not used those in a while, so that's cool. Yeah. Plenty of clearance down on this level as well, which is good if you want to put tall stuff in, like the symptomatic and stuff, which is always a win. The fire pole in there, I'll have a look at that in a minute. There's actually a poster missing on the left here on the stairs. I had the sheep squatch poster on the right, or it will be on the right in a minute, but for some reason it's disappeared. I'm darn sure I didn't delete it, but God knows what's happening. Not entirely sure if these wires are part of the fire station or if they're sort of clipping through from outside. I think they're part of the fire station, I think. Either way, bit odd, but nonetheless it works. Heading up to the first floor, we have my crafting area. And I put this up here because I really wanted to be using this structure the most, so this is the busiest area. We do have a problem here, though. If you look at that punch card machine, you can see it's clipped through the floor there. And I left that like that deliberately so you can really see what I'm talking about. And that is that all of the workbenches and stuff in particular also wanted to pop down through the surface of the floor. which was not a problem for the punch card machine, but for the workbenches, it meant that they were saying, oh, well, we can't place it here because the furniture entry is blocked. Obviously, I was able to pop them just up a little bit and make them sit on the top rather than clip through the floor, but it was kind of annoying that I had to faff with that, so a little bit of an issue there, but nothing insurmountable, so that's the main thing. Not quite sure why they decided to fence off this little area under the stairs either. It makes it dead space, so I've chucked some stuff in there. But I would have liked to have been able to use that for something. But it is what it is. We'll head up to the roof. Bit of a mixed bag up here. My decon arch, my generator, and my power armor station. I thought about putting one of the Vault-Tec canopies up here, just to make it a bit more interesting, but in the end I didn't quite like the way it looked. It did work, but I didn't like the looks, so changed it out, kept it simple up here. Now, workbench we've got in the corner here is Sam's workbench, his ally station, a new ally from the current season, Season 8. And unlike some of the others, that workbench is not actually usable, which is a bit of a pity. But it is quite a cool little thing, I do like it. It was a bit of a drag trying to get it into that corner. But Sam's quite a cool new ally. His banter is slightly less annoying than some of the others, so that's a win. Couldn't tell you why it's less annoying, but it is. Yeah, quite happy to have him hanging out. He does have some issues with getting up to the top of this building, though, which is why he's going to be hanging out in a weird place in just a moment. But as we are heading back downstairs, let's take the pole, shall we? Have a look at this animation. There we go. Ooh, nice. So this works pretty well, it looks quite cool. There's one tiny issue with it that I think was down to moving the fire station after I'd placed it. And that is that my character initially was sliding down beside the pole on some phantom second pole. But I think, as I say, that was just because I'd moved the fire station after I'd placed it and the animation was having a hard time figuring out where it was actually supposed to be. When I relogged, it worked it out and it's been fine ever since. So not a major problem, just a little glitch there. As I say, it's working just fine now, so that's the main thing. So, moving towards the back of the camp, this is another of the more heavily decorated areas, at least the house is. We'll have a look inside in just a moment. Porch is a little bit bare, again, budgetary considerations. Used a couple of chain link fences to close up these gaps. Decided to put a little step in here so we can get out to where my Collectron is. I just thought before, actually, I might have been good putting that inside the camp, and then I could use it as a bit of extra decoration, but it is what it is. And Sam's hanging out on that corner for some weird reason. Let's head on up inside again. Close the gate behind me. Nice. We'll take a look around the house. So you can see here, I've changed out the windows so they run all the way across the top. And it looks much better that way, in my opinion. Even if you can see the bed through the window. Few little bits out front here, keeping it minimal because struggling with the decoration. On the other hand, when we go inside, in here I went to town on it, so I think the two might somehow be related. Lots of decoration in here, really happy with how it's come out. Glad I got to use the new Xion wallpaper. Using it in a larger space like this compared to the build I was looking at the other week means it's not quite so in your face, which is nice. Lots of very, very clean furniture in here because it goes well with the new Xion wallpaper and the Guild of Antiquities staircase as well. A nice little seating area. There's never anything on TV, so we'll point the sofa at the fireplace instead. Really glad that display cases don't take up budget anymore. That's a wonderful little change. Tuck the grand piano under the stairs there. And we've got our nice little kitchen here. Once again, using the Tipsy Tom set to make worktops. They're only one deep here, but again with the budget, it's probably just as well. It's a nice enclosed, almost open plan kitchen as well, which works quite nicely. Got our washer dryer set there in the corner. Hopefully those are pretty well locked together, otherwise as soon as that thing hits the spin cycle the washer's going to go flying across the room, but we'll hope it's a solid object, yeah? I actually used some lighting I don't normally use in here because this space was quite large and difficult to light, so I used some of those brighter ceiling lamps that really did fill the place with a lot more light. So I'm not going to do a nighttime tour because this video is quite long enough already, but yeah, it did need some reasonably bright light to fill the space with. Heading on upstairs, this place is a bit more dim, which is kind of what you want for a bedroom. Well, with a fairly standard style bedroom for me. I've changed the wallpaper out just to kind of separate it a little bit, make it a little bit different. Up there, a couple of lamps in the corner. They're actually switched on, those lamps. You can hardly tell in the daytime, but they do work. They're not massively bright, but they're quite nice, and they fit with the clean vibe that this particular house has. Let's make our way along past the stairs. Nice little view down into the lower section of the house there. Do quite like the way that looks. A little bit of contrast wall going on with the bathroom here. Same when you go inside. We've got a accent wall on the left there, and the rest of it's tiled off in white. Nice clean bathroom, and the tiles could do with a bit of a wipe down, but otherwise it's a nice clean bathroom. The shower actually went in nice and easily, really, so that was definitely a win. Unfortunately, that sink does clip through the floor, which is a bit of a bugbear of mine. What can you do? It's not immediately noticeable, but you can occasionally spot it from down below. But what can we do? Needed a clean set to match with everything else, so it works. Sort of see it as we come down the stairs a little bit, I think, yeah? Maybe not. It's just out of sight. But yeah, I like the decoration in here. It's nice and homely. Not particularly wasteland, but not everything has to be scrappy, let's be honest. It's nice to do something a bit different. There we go, now we can see the bottom of that sink. But yeah, I like that. If you got to live in the wasteland, you could do worse than that, I think. We'll pan back around. As I say, we've got somewhere to hang out on the porch, but a tiny bit more Spartan than I would have liked. Same with this courtyard area, but we dressed it up a little bit, so that's the main thing. I really do like this new tower, I have to admit. I might have to use it again at some point, but I do wish Bethesda had maybe opened up some of those square panels and had the brick showing through instead, just to make that front aspect a little bit more interesting. I like the smoke coming out the window, though. Although it is a bit odd that it makes the fire station look like it's on fire. I mean, I know it's the wasteland, but still. Either way, quite happy with how this came out. Looks alright, in my opinion. Be nice to hang out here for a little bit, and nice to build in the Toxic Valley for a change as well. So I hope you folks did enjoy this build. If you did, please do consider dropping me subs and likes. I very, very much appreciate it. Down below the video you can find social media links, merch store, and channel memberships as well if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way. I very, very much appreciate it. It really helps out. So massive, massive thank you to everyone who's done that already. And if you get a chance to join our live streams as well, we are of course playing Fallout 76. Damn, that sunset looks pretty. And we're playing a few other bits and pieces on the side as well. We've been having good fun, so I do hope you'll join us for those. But for now, enjoying this sunset, I will say thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.